Welcome back, family. Team Ohana here. I'm your host, Rich, and we're going to be looking at the cover price top 20 for December 9th, 2024. I see we already got Robert Monroe who's already joined the channel. How's it going, buddy? Um, yeah, it's a very similar list to last week. There's the Batmans and the monsters. Apparently, we've got a couple books that have dropped off, a couple new ones that have dropped that come on, all along the same flavor, and a repeat offender from earlier this year that is already pre-picked as my bust, and some erroneous data too. We'll get into that as well. But let's just jump right into this right off the bat. We're gonna have issue coming in at number 20. It's the Absolute Batman. Don't panic. It's not the cover A. This is the foil variant, so you don't see Absolute Batman written up at the top. It says the foil variant on this, which it's showing its current trend is a little bit down, 9.8. It's most common is 109. Last sale at 100, and near mints are now going for 30. I believe in just looking at the near mints, and I don't trust the 9.6 to 10.0 near mint pluses because you'll have somebody that has a 7.0 on eBay and says, yeah, it's in perfect condition, and just use all that data. But that near mint 9.0 and 9.4 is actually usually pretty true. So looks like this book is actually trended up a little bit, but I'm still will Spawn 5 be on the list because of the upcoming spinoff? I got a copy last year from Team Ohana. Well, I don't know, and I'm hoping that it goes up in value then because you got a copy. Cool. Again, one of the things I'm worried about with this book is it's a foil book, and foils usually have a higher percentage of books that come back as a 9.9. So I'm waiting for those people that pre-screened a bunch of foils, trying to get those 9.9s to start jumping into the market. As soon as they do, those 9.8s are going to drop because everybody likes a 9.8 if it's the highest grade. If it's not the highest grade, then nobody wants it as much. So grading is a little bit still up in the air. It seems to have settled a little bit, but I still don't trust CGC right now. I'm not trusting any grader right now. And I don't trust foils. So I think that the Absolute Batman is going to be very, very similar to the can't even think of what the heck it's called. It's not Absolute Spider-Man, the Ultimate Spider-Man. I kind of put it as like an equal to the Ultimate Spider-Man. The Ultimate Spider-Man has come settled down a little bit. But we're about to get the Ultimate Universe 1 year in, which I'm sure is going to rekindle a lot of that stuff. They're not going with a new storyline. They're following up on the same storyline, which is good as far as the Ultimate. But I digress. I think that this is going to I really worry about this 9.8 price once 9.9s become apparent. And I think that the foils are going to drop in price. The same as the regular. I think the foil will lead the charge in the dropping. So if you really want to have a foil, I would just hold off on this and not get it. Let's get our first monster book. Why not? It's the Mark Spears Monsters, issue number 1. This is the Borderlands first appearance of Punisher homage. It's limited to 300, and it's really not that expensive. $20 for it was the last sale, which is just a couple days ago for a raw. No graded sales shown. There's a lot of different store variants out there, and of course there is one which is leading the pack, and it's the one I'm still looking for for a decent price, and I'm not finding one at a decent price just yet. But this one's only 300. It is it's a decent homage. We know it's the Spider-Man 129, which is a good key book with good characters, the original, that is. So $20 might not be a bad drop on this one, especially if you can get something like this one autographed. There's some decent autograph spots in here. That's $20 is not bad for limited to 300 on this Mark Spears Monster number 1. Next one, here's our erroneous information. Anybody from CovrPrice, if you're watching this, you got to correct this one, buddy. Okay, so we have the New Mutants number 98, first appearance of Deadpool in a direct edition. Okay, you see no barcode here. And the reason this has popped up here crazily and driven up the FMV is because the last recorded sale of a 9.8, it says as $2,005. Now, that's the price of a newsstand. That's not the price of a direct edition, a direct sale. Do not go out and start thinking I got to spend $1,400. It's the fair market value is not 1336. That got pulled up by that $2,000. If you look at the two sales directly before it, they're in the 800s. Okay, and I'm going to see if I can pull that one up for you as well. Let's look at that sales data. We've got right before it on 12/6, 897, and before that I see 836 on 12/5. So this book has dropped into the 800s. As I said, this is a bad listing. Somebody did not put their listing in correctly. And of course, all this data is pulled in automatically by the computers. There's no way that somebody could sit there and manually type in all the data from every sale on every platform. And even if they could, you're still human error. You're going to make a mistake anyway. But that $2,000 is not the price for a direct edition. The current going price is actually around 875. It seems to be about the average for a 9.8. Okay, so that is the correct price. Now that being said, 875 is about where I said this book was going to settle down to. Maybe even a little lower, 850, 830. So, hi Kenneth, how's it going, sir? This book may come down a little bit more between now and Christmas as people are trying to sell books to get that Christmas money. But this is also one of those books that when people get their income tax returns starting, like mid-February, end of February, this is where like, oh, I got a good income tax return. I'm finally going to buy that New Mutants number 98. And as a result, you'll wind up with a slight bump in the price. I got the books. Cool. Thank you so much for sending the giveaway prize. You're quite welcome. Thank you so much. And like I said, I hope you enjoyed the additional books that I put in there. Sorry that you had to wait for them, but I instead of giving you 3, I think I sent you 6 or something. I threw in some good stuff. Enjoy, Kenneth. You deserve it. So again, just do not go spending $2,000 on a 9.8. The current going price accurately should be somewhere in the 850 to 875 range. At that price, though, like I said, now you're getting about where it might be a good time to go get that 9.8 if you wanted, or even a 9.6, which is that's $795. No, I wouldn't pay $795 if the 9.8s are selling for $875. I would be looking. That might be another newsstand edition. Let's look at the 9.6s. We just looked at the 9.8s. Why not, right? Last sales on a 9. $499, $455, $432. Yeah, $799. This is another one that is a newsstand edition that got mixed in. So unless somebody intentionally purchased a book from a buddy off of eBay just to try to drive the price up, but the price of this should be under $500 for a 9.6 and closer to $850 to $875 for a 9.8. Next up on the list, we have the Absolute Batman #1, the logo in the foil edition as well. It's up 15% this week, I see. Wow. So 9 point near mints 9094 selling for $28 on 12/8. The foils are selling for $60 with an FMV of 57 on last sale on 12/3. So if you have a beautiful book, the cost of sending it there, having it graded, and getting it back is more than $32. It's cheaper for you to just go buy a 9.8. Why is everybody selling these 9.8s the way they are? Because again, I think they're waiting to drop those 9.9s. It's another foil book. And honestly, I really am not that crazy about that book if it's slabbed, you're not going to get it signed or remarked or anything. It's foil, so you're not going to get it signed or remarked or anything. I'm not crazy about this book whatsoever. I'm sorry. Enough Batman. Let's go back to monsters. Why not? Sure. So we have the Creature feature, cover C of issue #2. It shows a downward trend of 8%. That's a pretty decent pretty high number there. Now I see the near mints are selling for about 12. It was going for 30. I thought that 30 was ridiculous. I think 12 is still, I think it's higher than it's going to go for in the long run. And the reason for that is this, when issue number 1 came out and it was so dang hot, people started trying to find those number 2s and number 3s. They were ordering them a little bit more. Everybody's trying to find that lightning in the bottle for the next, something is killing the children. I think this is going to drop a little bit more. I think it's going to wind up closer to like 9 or 10, but I don't think it's ever going to go back to cover price, which is 6. So keep your eyes open for a decent copy if you want. It's, again, this is not the cover A, so if you're just looking to read it, this isn't the one. You can probably, if you just want to read it, you can find a different cover. But this cover itself, though, is actually, it's a pretty cool cover. I got to give it credit. I mean, I got mine sitting right here on my desk. So I got a lot of Monsters books all around me right now. I would say 9 or 10 is probably where this book is going to settle. So if you buy it for 12, you're only losing what, $2? It's not a terrible, terrible investment. Again, I don't think it's going to shoot back up, but the Monsters books have gone up, then start to come back down. And like everybody's like, oh, they're losing their value. Then they shoot back up again. Look at the Bridezilla, which is now on its way back down again. So who knows? Let's get another Mark Spears Monsters. This is the EC Comics homage. Now, so many comics have done EC Comics homages lately that I really wasn't interested in this book whatsoever. Vlad Dracula and the Vampire, it kind of was like the same to me, and the Slayer. So it's got a little bit of the distressed look to it. So that's kind of interesting. I know people that love that. I'm not a fan. Where we got is trending upwards a little bit. We have near mint selling for 21. Now, again, I didn't get any because just for me, I'd rather just go get more EC books and just try to find them here when I can, which is not easy. But I mean, it's okay. I think it's going to drop a little bit in the price in the long run, but it's an okay cover. I'm not enamored with it. Next one is the cover A. Now this one is it's holding its value. It really is. And the thing is, on eBay right now, I do not see very many copies of this out there. I mean, I'll see like 1 or 2, and I don't know if everybody's holding them or just really there aren't that many out there. Yeah, I know you're an EC fan. Absolutely. I think there are other homages that are better. Okay. And I would love to get some EC books. But I think there are other homages that are better. Just the way that Mark Spears Monsters, the font pops up. I don't know. It just, for some reason, that just turns me off. But the cover A of Monsters that we're showing here, you don't see it anywhere. I can't find copies of it. Near mint selling for about $100. That's today. And that's about right. I mean, I'm trying to see if I can get lucky and find something. 9.8, 9.9. No recent sales of slabs. The most recent one was 11.30 for 220. And I'll be honest, a week earlier, that 9.9 sold for 280. That person is probably kicking themselves for selling it. The near mints are selling for 100. I can't say to wait for a bargain because I just don't see people selling them. I got a feeling this might be a very low print book. So guys, keep your eyes open. See if you can find one. I'm looking. If I can find myself a really good copy, I don't want to drop 100 on it, but I want to get one into my collection, and I might not have much of an option at that. Next up on the list, we have the DC All-In Special. Remember, this is the first appearance of the Absolute Universe, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. And Wonder Woman is no longer on the list. Superman actually was on it for like 1 week, but as you see, Absolute Batman is still here. So this is his first appearance. It's still continuing to trend upwards, and now the near mints are selling for 5 instead of 4. Hey, it's $5. It's a $5 book in near mint. It's 65 in a 9/8, which if it's $5 in near mint, that 65 is going to drop. This is also the most recent sale. I know you see 15 here and 11 here, but that's 11.18 and 11.25. The only sales in December are $5 for a near mint. Not even the slabs are from December. The only sale of anything that's listed here is near mints, $5. So this is a $5 book. Even though it's the first appearance of all these characters and it's a nice wraparound, it's just not shooting up in price at all. It's not holding. Oh, well, like not going anywhere. So is there a chance it can go up a little bit? Yeah. If all of a sudden interest really takes off, but more than it is now, that is. But I just go grab yourself a copy for $5. You got really nothing to lose. That's the way I look at it. Next up, oh my God, it's a Mark Spears monster book. I haven't seen that in forever. So it's the Bridezilla book. Now, this book has come down a little bit. This book has had a roller coaster ride. 9.8s are now on 12.3 sold for $350. Oh, the sales before that were $430. The near mints, which were up at about, I think they were like $195 and $200. Now they're selling for $175, which is still a really, really high price on these things. Everybody wish me luck. I had 3 copies that I have. I got 3 copies of this. I think I got them in the $25 to $30 range. They shot up to $100. When they started coming down, they were like $70, $75. I had them at the Cartersville show. I was offering them, I think, at $35 a piece, half price of what everybody else was selling it for. Nobody took them. That was just a couple of weeks ago. Then they relaunched and shot back up again. So this is a very, very fickle book. I sent 3 copies of this, my Absolute Batman, and 2 copies of something else. I don't remember what. Oh, the Forbidden Planets, the innovation. And they're not pre-screened. I'm selling all 6 books, 2 CCS, let them clean it, press it, and then CGC to grade it. Probably take about a month and a half to 2 months. But right now, I'll be okay if I get 9 6s. They're still definitely worth it for the amount of money that I spent on the books. But I mean, if I get a 9.8, it'd be even better. That being said, I think this book is going to come down. It's already been in range of under 100 and people didn't buy them. It's a very fickle book and it's only shoots up when people talk about it. It's definitely one of those books that once people are not talking about it, it comes back down. So that being said, I think the raws are going to come back down under 100. I look for them to probably settle around the $70 to $75 range. I mean, right now it's at $175. I hope I'm wrong on this one. And I think the 9.8s are probably going to be about the 175 range, about half of what we're seeing right now. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but that's what I personally see. Now, the what's really weird is you will find more of these on Facebook, on eBay and all the other platforms are selling, then you find the cover A. And you would think the cover A would be much more prevalent, but for some reason, it doesn't seem to be. Maybe people are just hoarding those cover A's. I don't know. But I think that this book is definitely due for another downturn. It's got the roller coaster up, down, up, down. It's just done its big peak. I think it's on its way down now. And next, here we go. The cover A. I told you it was still here. The Absolute Batman #1 cover A, the regular Nick Dragata. And it's actually gone just a little bit back up again. This was actually down around 27, 29. Then it broke over 30. Now it's at 34. Near mints plus is selling for 50. And the 9.8s at 114. So that's down a little bit. I think it was up around 130. I see at November 24th, it was 140. But it's not a cheap book yet. It's not under 100. So are we first appearance of Spider-Boying this? Are we Ultimate Spider-Maning this? I don't know. But again, it's an in-demand book, so keep your eyes open. Remember that there are a lot of different covers on this. I'm gonna try to see if I can show them to you real quick. You've got of course, those blank sketch releases, and there's a fourth printing. Oh my gosh, we don't even look at the uh, what was that? What was that homage to? I can't even remember. It was some anime. I can't remember what it was an homage to. Look at all the different covers we got at number one. This right here is why I don't have faith in the ratio variants, because there's just too many copies. And stores can buy like one of each and qualify for a 1 in 50 variant. Jeez, that's a lot of different issues. So it is possible, like the Doom book, that's thank you very much, Akira. At least I was right about it being anime. I just sold one of the Bride cover for $200 a few days ago, so I think there's still some interest in that price. Congratulations. That is absolutely cool. I'm glad that you caught it at one of the peaks. Usually I'm the one that I'm the opposite. I sell at the low point like an idiot sometimes. Because I mean, hey, I got a good copy of Paper Girls #1 and a 9.8 if anybody wants it. Jeez. And by the way, also, hi Hector. um, I'm really, really glad that you sold one for 200. That's cool. I think this is going to come down a little bit over time, because even every book that goes through this wave, this type of progression on the price list over the last few years, it even if it has a good value over a elongated period of time, it does dwindle a little bit. The average book dwindles a little bit more than a little bit. So I think that this one, 6 months from now, will be lower than this, unless for some reason this character gets more canonical, more in canon, which is, I don't think it's possible. I mean, is this more popular now than the Batman Who Laughs when the Batman Who Laughs came out? I don't think so. And the Batman Who Laughs is dropped in price, of course. Do I think that the Ultimate DC line will have the same continued interest as the Ultimate Marvel line? No, I do not. And the reason I don't, I'm going to make sure that I bring myself up on this, is the only line that seems to be holding its value on the hot list, though, is the Absolute Batman. The Absolute Superman, the Absolute Wonder Woman have all dropped off this list. However, in the Ultimate universe, you had Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Black Panther. All the different titles were dominating this list. So it's like across the board, everybody was interested in one way or another. And I think this week on New Comic Book Day, I think we've got the absolute, the Ultimate Universe 1 year in, and there is a cover appearance of Earth 6160 Wolverine, which I think is his first appearance or first cover appearance. So if you happen to see it in the stores, try to grab yourself a copy. That's actually one of on CovrPrice's list of books to look out for this week. So I don't think I have it pre-ordered, but I'm going to look for it myself. And I don't usually get to the store till late. So some people that hit like 3 or 4 stores, Robert, you might have a chance to get yourself a copy or two. All right, we are at the halfway point, so I want to take a quick moment to say thank you to all the people that helped make this channel possible. Don't forget that this Saturday, Robert, this Saturday at 8 p.m. is our Patreon get-together. We're going to have some fun, give away some books, just get together and talk as we're getting ready for the holidays. But right now, I'm just going to take a quick 15 seconds to say thank you to all the members. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with the top 10. And we're back, and we're going to just jump right into the top 10 with a title with a book that we have not seen in a long, long time. It's Monsters number one. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's stupid dad humor, sarcasm. What can I do? We have, but it is a version that we haven't seen, and it's interesting. We have the Mark Spears Monsters, the cover D, which is the Incredible Hulk 340 homage. Instead of seeing Hulk in the Wolverine claws, you're seeing, um, is that Van Helsing? Or we have, I think actually you have Dracula and we have a vampire. You have two different characters according to that EC cover. That could be them there. I'm not sure. But this is the first time we've seen this book on the list. So I think right now we're at the point where people are having a hard time buying any versions of the Monsters number one. So they're starting to just buy up every copy of every cover that they could get their hands on. And as a result, it's going to drive up the price. It's just like something is killing the children. Cover A is always your expensive one, and as that shoots up, people start going after the cover B, the cover C, the Frizz, and the J Lee, and everything else. But it's the stepchild is what it is, you know. We have an 8.5 that just sold for 43. Why would you even have send the? Well, I guess maybe the book got damaged. Maybe they thought it was a 9.8 candidate, but wow, somebody sent in a book and got an 8.5, and it sold. That's the interesting part. Near Mint selling for 40. Near Mint Plus for 42. This is actually getting some good prices on this book. So this might be a sleeper in your LCS. You might be able to find this one because it has not appeared on the hot list. It might be one that's in a box and you might get lucky and still find it a cover or $10 or something like that. I wouldn't spend 40 on it, but since this hasn't been on the hot list like all the other covers has been, you might get lucky and find this one. So I don't think it's worth 40. There's other covers that I love much better than this. But again, as cover A and Bridezilla go up, they're going to inherently bring all the other books up with it. So keep your eyes out for it in the back issue bins. Mark Spears Monsters number 2, the cover B, the Spawn homage. Yes, I've got that one too. Those are the two ones. That and the creature feature are the two that I pre-ordered. I didn't pre-order the cover A like a ding dong. This is actually trending up a little bit. $20 for Near Mint Plus or $17 for Near Mint and Raw. No pre-sales of 9.8s. December 5th was the highest Raw value at 35. Again, I pre-ordered that, so I got it for cover price. I'm okay with that. And I saw it, I got it, but for some, I don't know, maybe it's just the colors. I do not associate this with Spawn number 1. And I know what Spawn number 1 looks like, and I understand the pose is the same, but the color scheme is so far off, it does not resonate in my mind as a Spawn book. So even though it even says at the bottom, was it Sperry after McFarlane? So I don't know. I think that 17 is even still now a little bit high because not issue number 2 already people were starting to jump on the bandwagon. More copies were ordered. Of course, the Spawn homage is going to be ordered. So I think in the long run, there's just going to be too many copies of this in the market to hold the price. Next up, oh my goodness, this is interesting. This is very, very interesting. The Mark Spears Monsters issue number 1, the second print, Trick or Treat. Now, this is the standard non-mole, non-error. This is the regular issue, and this is shooting up. Now, this is one of the things I was wondering about. I'm seeing I'm going to bring this up because this is not on the hot list. The mole variant right now it shows is $36 and up 22%. This is selling for $30. So let me get some of these out of here. But now Near Mint's selling for 30, Near Mint Plus selling for 51. Now here's the fun part. I haven't seen any of the non-mole versions. Granted, I don't go from store to store to store, but I have been wondering since day one, what if the error, is the one that had more printings? I don't know. What if they printed 20,000 mole errors and only 5,000 corrected? Then all of a sudden, the regular non-error becomes 4 times as scarce. Currently, again, the mole error, because people hear error and automatically assume that it's a lower print run. We don't know that, but the error is still selling for more than the second print regular. You might again find a store that says, put them into their back issue bins or up on the shelf still, that had some. They quickly say, "Oh shoot, they're not the errors," and put them back on the shelf and didn't care. Hopefully, you'll get lucky. I don't think people should pay 30, but it is possible when the print numbers come out, if anybody ever leaks that information, that if this is lower print, that 30 might be a low price in the long run. We don't know. If anybody knows the Fleer baseball cards from I think 1989, there was a Billy Ripken card, and he was standing as a pose and holding a bat, and on the butt of the bat it says F blank 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 face, the F face card. Of course, first as soon as it came out and people found out about it, all the cards got pulled off shelves, and Fleer immediately made made a white box version, then an airbrush version, and there's several versions. And I think the original F face card was going for like $150 a piece. Now they're like 10, because there was a lot of them, and there's one version of the corrected that is the absolute lowest print, and that's the one that had the highest value in the long run, but nobody knew what those numbers were. The same thing can happen with this, even though there's an error. If the printed version, if the corrected version is less in print than the error, then the corrected version will be the higher value. And $30 on a hot book that might have an upside, this is a candidate for a boom for the week. We'll see. Next on the list, it's another Mark Spears Monsters book. Honestly, I just don't like this one. This is a Bird City Comics. This is a second print of issue number 2, and it's limited to 200. Very low prints as far as some of these limiteds. Now, they call it the Wizard of Oz face-off, but I kind of look at it as like the Wicked because of the movie right now, but I guess that is Dorothy, so it's not Wicked, it's Wizard of Oz. But this is not only very low print, but also right now with Wicked in the movie theater, getting additional information, and still a limited to 200 of a hot book is only selling for $58 in a raw, near mint raw. No sales of pre-sales for a slab. So for $58, I don't think that's, to me, telling that there's a lot of interest in this book. And maybe now that it's on the hot list and people know it exists, it may get a little bit of a bump, but I really don't see this in the long run. I think this is going to settle to be a $20 to $25 book. I'm sorry. It's just nothing all that spectacular about it. Nobody's, came out November 20th, and as hot as Monsters is, it took this long for it to hop on the list. Next up, believe it or not, it's another Mark Spears Monsters. Now, honestly, this is the one I want to get. I still love this book, and I can't find a copy that is, sliding through anywhere. This is limited to 500 from Ultimate Comics. This is the Amazing Spider-Man 601 homage. You see the last sale at $85, and this was going for $100. Okay, and I think I saw one for $79.99. But watch those shipping costs, because there'll be somebody that'll put one up for $40, and you're like, oh, $40, buy it now, and then you find out it's like $120 in shipping. Yeah, they do that stuff. Watch it. They put all the price into shipping, which A, gets you to buy something real quick, and B, avoids them paying eBay, because people only have to pay the percentage based on the auction price, not the price of the shipping. So if I have $100 comic book and I sell it for $100 with $10 shipping, I have to pay eBay I think it's 14% of $100, which is $14. If I sell it for $10 with $100 shipping, I still put that same $110 into my pocket. I have to pay for shipping, but now I'm paying eBay $1.40. So just be careful. A lot of times people are like, oh, wow, it's only $20 for a $100 comic book. Yeah, but they're asking you $100 in shipping. So you actually, out of your pocket, you've paid more than if you just, paid attention to how much the cost and the shipping are together. Back to the countdown. So this is a book that I have been watching, trying to get my hands on. I love this cover. It's like I said, ASM 601, and instead of Spider-Man swinging in the distance, you got the vampire Dracula flying away. This cover hits with me where the Wizard of Oz didn't. So me, if I find it right now for 45, and I can feel confident that I got a chance at a 9.8 by submitting it, yeah, I think 85 is worth it. Um, I think it's going to come down. I think you're going to wind up finding it closer to 65, 70 in a couple of weeks because it has been trending downwards. So I'm still waiting and hoping. But if I bought it for 85 right now and it didn't wind up settling for 70, I still wouldn't be heartbroken. I love the book. Ugh. Yeah, here's the reemergence of something along the lines of why? Why? It's the Galacta, daughter of Galactus. Remember she was on this like 6 months ago or 8 months ago or a year, whatever the hell ago, and just disappeared off of nowhere, and now it's back. Who cares? This is a 2010. Now, you remember 2010? They were pumping out every piece of crap story they could come out with on crappy quality paper, just trying to make sure, just trying to get more and more books out there. Some books were every 2 weeks instead of monthly. Storylines are horrible. It's trending downwards, but yet it's still up here. Why? Probably because of some sale. Now, in 9.8, well, hasn't sold since 2022. 9.6 just sold for $100. Near mint selling for 35. Highest raw was back in March. Okay, so that's when it was 190. Now it's 35 for a near mint. Right there, that should just tell you right there. It was a raw before was 190. Now it's 190 for a raw before. Now it's 35. That should tell you everything you need to know. But there have been some additional sales as far as number of sales, not hot peak values, and it's popped back up on the list. You know what? It shows how much it's come down. If I really want this book, which I don't, I'll wait another couple of weeks. It'll be off the list, and I'll get it for half the price that you're seeing now. Ugh. Venom number 39, the first cover appearance of the all new Venom. This has actually gone up a little bit. So, near mint plus going for 16, but near mint and that was on the 6, but near mint regular going for 24. Again, I'd put more stock in the near mint price. $24 for on 12.7. At 9.8 though has not sold since 11.24 for $62. So I'm willing to bet you that's gone up. 9.8's highest known value was November 20th, 4 days before that, for $120. So there's no recent sales of the slabs to really go by. We're gonna have to go by the raws, and it is trending upwards. There have been too many Venom characters for me to get excited about anything. And I actually saw a copy of this in Visions last week, and I remember seeing the picture. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Let me see if I can pick this up. And I got to the counter, and I think it was 15, which is still a far cry less than 24, And he's like, it's $15. I'm like, nah, I don't like the cover that much, and I put it back. Is it worth 15? Absolutely. Especially if I had gotten it, I would be up 66%. But I don't regret not buying it because I just don't have faith in the long-term investability of Venom, and I'm not good at selling lately. So I wouldn't be turning things over. That being said, I don't recommend anybody to grab this book right now, unless you happen to go into Visions and get that book for 15. 15 is probably a better price of what you're going to find it settling in a few months. Maybe even a little lower, in my opinion, because I just think there's just too many Venom characters, and we're going to get away from the movie, and it'll hit streaming and it'll go up again, but then it'll just die off again. And I think that was the last Venom movie. So I don't know. Again, there's so many different storylines and characters in the Venom verse that everybody freaks out about, and in the long run, nobody cares about. Number 3 on the list. This is a completely different book here. We got Batgirl, issue number 2, the 1 in 25 first full appearance of Calden. I don't know who Calden is because I didn't read Batgirl. I'm sorry. This is a pretty cool cover. I do like that cover. But I'm not a person who reads Batgirl, so I couldn't tell you anything about the character. Now, it's a 1 in 25, but it has not reached double ratio. Now, thanks to JP's Budget Collecting, they've done a lot of tracking and stuff. And these ratio variants, if they don't reach about 2.5 times ratio, they inevitably 99% of the time do not hold value. They wind up falling back to ratio. That being said, this has about a 99% chance of falling back to $25 in the long run. What may the two things that may change that: one, if Calden becomes a real character that means something, and two is if this were Batman or Wonder Woman or Spider-Man or Green Lantern or Justice League or something like that, or even Harley Quinn, it's one of the ones that stores sell a respectable amount of copies of, then I would say it would not hold value. However, does your average store sell 25 copies of Batgirl number 2? And I think the answer to that is no, which means to me that the majority of stores would not have pre-ordered enough copies to get the 1 in 25. So I think the 1 in 25 may be a lower print run than people are expecting right now. And if that's the case, and Calden turns out to be something of a decent character that has longevity, this may be a diamond in the rough. Just saying. Overall, I think the chances are not that high, but it does have at least some potential for a book on this list. Coming in number 2, we've got Venom War. This is the introduction of the all-new Venom symbiote. November 27 when this came out, and it's trending upwards, but you still see near mints, FMV of $9, last sale today, $5. 9.8's 57, which is the cost of the book plus the cost of grading. So maybe $20 more than their absolute cost, which means it's really not that high. The highest known value, $60 on October 21st. And that's got to be a pre-sale. So even pre-selling this, nothing has beat that price since. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. It's had already 2 weeks to take off. It hasn't. I think there's just too many copies out there that stores don't have the ability to raise the price because the demand is here and the supply is off the screen. So it's a cover price book, and I think it always will be, which is why I think this book is going to fail. And coming in number 1, oh my goodness, can you believe it? Spawn, number 1. First appearance, of course, of all the other characters. This book has been on and off the list, and we are seeing 9.8s currently going now for 158. That's the high mark that I've seen for quite a while. A 9.9 sold on November 26th for $3,099, which is an all-time high. No, it's not. What am I saying? All-time high of that was 10,000. Ouch. Oh my goodness. So I think that 158 is kind of a representation of where the old 120, 125 price is, and then add inflation. I think that 125 price from a couple of years ago, adjusted for inflation, is probably about 158. So it feels about right. Now, before everybody says, well, it's going to go up, da, 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 I looked it up beforehand. 9.8s. CGC alone. I'm not talking about CBCS, PGX, and all, and EGS and everything else. Just CGC. There's about 17,000 9.8s on the census. And there are some restored and qualified grades. And I'm like, wow, really? But just the regular blue label and the autograph labels, you're coming in close to 17,000 9.8s. Wow. Matter of fact, I've got the entire. I can think you guys can still hear me. Yeah, I'm looking at total amount of graded of this book. Almost 35,000 graded books of Spawn #1. They're everywhere. Okay. And yeah, I got one. um, I think though that one, yeah, no, I have a 9.8 of Spawn. It's the Venom. I think I have a 9.6. This is a book that is decently affordable for everybody. It's an iconic cover. It's a great book to have in your collection. It's kind of like that book that everybody has to have one. And unfortunately, with inflation, 158 is not a terrible price. I keep my direct and newsstand raw and unsigned. I don't even know how much a newsstand would be going for. Should we take a quick look? Ooh, the Thailand edition. Yeah. Oh boy. Do you realize how many different covers we got to go through? Jeez. Interior error. There's a newsstand. Well, I see raw of the newsstand is going for 127. So that's pretty good. 9.8s, 539 for a newsstand. This is from 1992. So newsstand was almost gone by this point. So yeah. And if you have a raw and a high grade, it's 125. So cool. But as you see, there's tons of these books. And again, we're always getting that someday we're going to reboot and redo Spawn. I promise it's going to happen. I know I've been saying it for 8 years, but it's going to happen. And he's got the money to do it if he really wants to. I still would always be looking for a bargain just based on how many there are in the world. I would never want to pay fair market value on a 9.8. This might also be one of those good books that if you wanted to buy a couple of books from a dealer to get a package deal, uh, usually dealers have some room to wiggle with this. So if you see a book for 100 and he's got this for 150, maybe try to get both books for 200. You might get lucky. Who knows? But yeah, again, I bought one just because I'm like, I got to have one in my collection because that's one of those books you just got to have. And I'm a slab guy. So speaking of slabs, you guys been checking out Only Slabs on Rob's Fast Sex Comics? All right. So now we've got to look at which is our boom and which is our bust. Now, what I try to do every single week is I pick which book I think is the absolute worst choice on this list based on only the fair market value and where I think it's going to be in 6 months from now. And same thing for boom. Now, I don't know if any price is going to shoot up. Let's just say all 20 of them go down. Which one do I think is going to go down the least? Which one, based on today's market value, is probably your best bet in the long run? And that would be your boom. And which one I think is the absolute worst is the bust of the week. Well, I'm going to get the bust right out of the way because this is a book that I can't stand. I couldn't stand it back in March and I can't stand it now. And back in March, it was 190 and now it's 35. And I think 35, it's still overrated. I think this is a $5 book at best. I don't even think the story was that good. Anyway, this is my bust pick. I hate it. There's a couple of good contenders on this list, but this one is this is the Usain Bolt of bust picks. Okay. All right. So now which one is my pick for what I would be going for? Now, I want to say this, but I want to say this with an asterisk. Okay. I'm going to pick this book based on real sales. This is the one that I would be going for at right now, and that would be first appearance of Deadpool. Forget that $2,000 $2,005 sale for 9.8 because that's incorrect. But you see the two sales right before that, we're in the mid 800s, which is where I thought it was going to come down to. It may still continue to drop a little bit. I don't know, but I think it's going to have a little bit more of a spike. If we get some kind of news about when his next cameo is going to be, or if there's going to be another Deadpool Wolverine movie. But B, I think when people get income tax returns, they're going to be targeting this book because they could never afford it. And they always want one. But in the 850-ish range, that's where I thought I would want to try to start looking for it. And right now it's in that range. So this would be the book that I personally would be looking for. Now, not everybody can say, I'm going to drop $850 on a book. Which book do I think would be a more affordable book for everybody else? The Batgirl #2 is interesting, but the one that I just got a little tingling for is the regular edition. Not the error, but the regular of the Mark Spears second print Trick or Treat. And the reason being, again, all I see out there, and maybe that's all I see is because that's all it's listed. People, they're all listing the errors, but I don't see any of the regular ones going for sale. And the non-error is almost the same price. It's like the non-error is going up while the error is coming down. And I think there's a chance that this one might be the lower print of the two. And this one might be a sleeper. So for in the $30 range for a near mint one, I think this has a chance. So there's nothing in here again, week after week. Anything you see on the hot list, if it's on the hot list, it's already selling. So we have missed the we got to spend more time at the beauty salon to get our nails done and our heads in the hair dryers and get the rumors before they start selling. But that is where we're staying with the hot list. So I want to say thank you to every single person who joined in today and anybody who's watching this on the replay. Don't forget to come on, join the channel for a live stream on the 11th for New Comic Book Day. It's December, it's Christmas time, which means everyone, or whether you are a YouTube member, a Patreon member, or whatever, I'm going to be trying to get 5 books every single week. And every single person is going to either to win $20 instead of the 15, or take all 5 of the books. So congratulations to people ahead of time. We're going to be drawing a brand new winner Wednesday, 8:00 Eastern Standard, live stream. That's what we do, how we do it here. The link is already there for you to click on for a reminder. Can't wait to see you guys on Wednesday. But until I do, I'm going to go get some rest because I just went back to work today after being on vacation. And yeah, this was like Monday squared. Everybody take care. Have a great evening. Be safe. And until I see you on Wednesday, mahalo.